Everyone seems to have a hot take on where the record market is going in the future. And honestly, it's changing pretty fast these days. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 key predictions of where I think the vinyl market is headed in the next few years. And these are all based on real data, collector behaviour, and just what I'm seeing in the market. So if you're a long-term collector or you've just started buying vinyl recently, this is hopefully going to give you a bit of a clearer view of what's coming and how I think you can start to collect smart. So let's get into it. Okay, so prediction number 1, I think premium pressing is going to start to dominate the market. So these are audiophile quality pressings that will take centre stage, and I think we've already started to see this come up with Rhino. They've got their high fidelity records range of really nice heavy tip-on gatefold jackets and usually AAA cuts, all mastered by Kevin Gray. Really lovely stuff. But Rhino have also got their Rhino Reserves range, which is AAA cuts, pressed at fidelity press implant, and these are really nice deep cuts normally. So this particular one, Alan Toussaint's Southern Nights, this is really hard to find an original of, but they've released this, and I think it's sold out pretty quickly actually, and I think they're going through a repress of this edition. So we're already starting to see that with Rhino. We're also starting to see Analog Productions. They've been in the game for quite a long time, doing their kind of high-end AAA cuts where they're able to do that. And also Blue Note, they're also dropping their Tone Poet editions of their back catalogue. So this is Wayne Shorter's Schizophrenia. Tone Poets are just AAA cuts in a nice heavy tip-on jacket, very similar to kind of the Rhino high fidelity range, but they're very faithful to the original releases on this, and usually pressed at RTI in the US. So yeah, I think we're starting to see that a little bit more. I think more labels get involved with this kind of release, and I think that they'll see that buyers are showing up for it. So back in the lockdown era, probably don't want to talk too much about that era, but we saw many of like the Blue Note Tone Poets were selling out on day 1 or week 1, and you know that's still the case for many of these kind of hot releases. And there's reports from the likes of Market Research Beers and Technavio that are seeing the vinyl market was at $2.4 billion back in 2024, and they're expecting it to grow up to $3.5 billion by 2033. Now that's, for me, that's quite a strong signal that, you know, this is a market that is expanding, and it's not because everyone is just buying more records. I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of people are showing up for kind of better and higher quality releases. You know, collectors are kind of saying, you know, I'd rather buy 1 or 2 $45 great sounding records than 5 cheap generic ones that, you know, I'll listen to once and they'll sit on my shelf because they don't sound that great. So don't be surprised if you see more of these deluxe editions and limited audiophile runs in the future. My second prediction is that major artists are going to start to kind of prioritise vinyl in their releases. So they're only going to lean harder into it, and we're already starting to see that with, you know, the likes of Taylor Swift. You know, her Midnight's album sold over 1 million copies. Beyonce launched Cowboy Carter with multiple colour variants, and Olivia Rodrigo, she's had exclusive multiple colour variants as well as exclusive through kind of independent stores and big kind of stores like Amazon and Urban Outfitters. And I don't think this is just hype, I think it's all part of their strategy. And according to Luminate's 2024 report, vinyl sales actually grew by 15.4%, and that outpaced streaming growth. And the majority of the buyers were millennials and Gen Z. So I don't think this is just, you know, nostalgia releases for the boomer generation. You know, these are kind of cultural touchstones for a lot of younger fans as well, and helping them connect with their artists. So, you know, what does that mean for kind of vinyl collectors like you and me, who aren't probably new to this game? I think it means that artists are going to just continue to keep dropping surprise variants and timed pre-orders as well, and maybe even like vinyl only bonus tracks. We've started to see that kind of tested by a lot of the big artists like Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift, and I think that kind of generates the buzz in their fan bases and ultimately sales. So that's what I think we're going to see. Okay, prediction number 3. I think sustainability is going to go mainstream in the vinyl production industry. So we're already starting to see sustainability come to the vinyl market, and there's kind of a growing pressure to the industry to kind of clean up its act a little bit. Traditional vinyl is made from PVC. It's a petroleum-based plastic, so it's not fantastic for the environment in the first place. And it's becoming harder and harder to come by as well. That's and prices rise with that that demand. But the last year we've kind of seen a breakthrough in these like alternative materials. I think it's Evolution Music in the UK and Greenyl in Italy. They're kind of both developing these two kind of plant-based biodegradable records. I think they're called Eco Mix. And throughout this year we've started to see kind of very big artists start to lean into that. So people like Billie Eilish, Coldplay is another one. They're starting to release this Eco Mix or Bioplastic vinyl, and it doesn't sound great. I would say it's nowhere near an audiophile record, but I think the marketing value to their fan bases is going to push this one forward, and hopefully someone's going to get this right. They're going to develop some sort of Eco Mix compound of vinyl that sounds really good, and it can actually take storm in the market, which is what I really hope for, because at the moment it just doesn't sound great and it really puts me off buying it. But I think we're going to see more of it. So get ready to come and see those stickers that say eco-friendly pressing or Eco Mix, or even the carbon reduced or carbon neutral plants as well. That might be a thing in the very near future. Another thing just is the packaging. So it's not the vinyl itself, but the packaging. I think we might start to see some backlash from people collecting about these kind of plastic covers and sleeves and shrink wrap. I'm sure there's a better way that can be done where it's not harming the environment, because some people aren't sad like me and keep these sleeves, the original ones, and they do just chuck them in the bin. So I think we'll start to see a bit more of that sustainability across the whole of the vinyl production process. Prediction number 4. So I think used records and indie stores will start to thrive. So, as we see new records and audiophile records kind of creep past that $30 to $40 mark, especially if in the US, or even £30 to £35 in the UK, you're going to see people kind of shifting gears, and there's going to be more interest in used vinyl, first pressings, which is something I'm very interested in, and indie label releases as well that are kind of exclusive to those stores. So in the UK alone, there are now 460 independent record shops, which is fantastic news, and that's up by 100 since 2014. So I'm really happy to hear that. And when you add in, secondhand markets like Discogs, eBay, even Depop as well is getting in on this, and you're going to see that kind of booming resale economy for used records. And personally, I'm seeing more collectors kind of ditch that kind of constant chase of new variants that I was talking about earlier, and instead they're kind of focusing on the older pressings with usually better mastering, or they just enjoy crate digging, and that's probably the thing that really draws me to this hobby. My favourite thing is to go into a used record store and flick through the bins and find something I've been looking for a long time in the wild, and not just jumping onto Discogs and finding it and then ordering it. It's not really that much fun in that, other than I know I've got it. It's way more fun finding it for yourself in the real world. But yeah, I think we'll see a bit more of that, and this is going to be great news for those like me who love the hunt, and because indie stores and secondhand crates are going to be packed with people just trying to stretch their budgets and find these gems. So yeah, I think we'll see used records and indie stores thrive in the next few years, which is great news. So prediction number 5, my final prediction, and it kind of counteracts one of my early ones, in that variant fatigue will kind of cause this collector pushback. So as we're seeing new albums kind of come out with like 8 variants for people to collect, all in different colours, all tied to kind of exclusive retailers, I think a lot of people will just be kind of over that and just stick with one or even not, go the complete opposite end and not support that artist because of the way that they're promoting their music. But yes, on Reddit, and in Facebook groups, you're kind of seeing people like, do I really need to collect every colour? Or why is the sound quality of this album or release just so inconsistent between each variant? And it's usually down to the pressing plant, right? But yeah, you do see that a lot. You'll struggle to collect the kind of the one that actually sounds the best, because that one will just rise in kind of resale value. And it's not that people don't love collecting, I think it's just that hype cycle of so many releases will get a bit exhausting to people. And I think, labels will start to kind of scale back when they see that happen. I think there'll be a very quick shift. So instead of kind of flooding the market with gimmicks, we'll see a bit more emphasis on quality, maybe even a bit more transparency as well as to who pressed it, who mastered it, and also, how it sounds as well will probably be the real marketing push. But yeah, if they don't, I think collectors will kind of get a bit bored and simply kind of walk away from overpriced variants and either just stick with one or none. They'll move back to used records from artists that they really, really love. So where's the vinyl market headed? I don't think we're headed for a crash. I think it's quite the opposite, but I think we're also looking at a smarter and more intentional phase of collecting vinyl. So premium pressings, I think they're here to stay, which is great news for me. Major artists, I think they'll keep using vinyl as a bit of a flex in the album release campaigns. Sustainability will increase, and I think that's whether or not the industry is ready or not for that. And also indie stores will thrive, and we'll see maybe a bit of variant fatigue as well, getting called out. So if you're collecting, my advice I think on this is quite simple. Probably going to be able to prioritize quality, support your local record stores, and don't buy into hype that you're going to later on regret. So don't just rush out and buy all those exclusive variants just because there's that FOMO, and you've got people you see online who are all grabbing it as well. So that's my predictions, but I'm really keen to find out what you guys think. So which of these ones do you think I've got right? Which of these ones do you think I've got wrong? And also, what ones do you think might come true in the future? So if you've liked this video and my predictions, give this video a like, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm looking to do way more content like this in the future, and I really like these kind of discussions around the vinyl industry as well. So if you want to hear more of this, hit that subscribe button for the vinyl narrative. And thank you very much for watching. Now go spin something great.